Welcome into Locked On Knicks. Alex Wolf here, going solo today to break down the Knicks 109-91 win over the Cavs. Why this was a great team win from top to bottom. Why you shouldn't be worrying so much about Julius Randle. I've seen a lot of panic, and I don't really know if it's warranted. Evan Mobley and Tristan Thompson making some unfortunate comments that came back to bite them by the end of this game. Immanuel Quickley, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett all scoring like crazy, and the centers doing big time work. Lots to talk about next on Locked On Knicks.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, welcome in to Locked On Knicks. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Knicks first listen today and every day, whether you're checking us out on your favorite podcast platform or taking insights and sounds on YouTube. We appreciate you making us part of your daily routine. Make sure that you hit that notification bell on YouTube or the auto download function on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And if you want to talk to us even more, you can check us out on Subtext, new platform that lets you talk to us right from the text messaging app on your phone. Check that out in the episode description. I'm Alex Wolf, editor-in-chief of Knicks site, The Strickland, which you can find at thestrick.land. And I'm talking through the Knicks 109-91 win over the Cavs right now. And I thought this was, quite frankly, a great team win. The ball was really zipping around. I think this is about the fastest I've seen the Knicks offense look in the Tibbs era. Uh, some of you can correct me, if it looked, and from what I understand, it did, if it looked that horrendous on Saturday night against the Pelicans. I was not able to take that game in, and I haven't been able to go back and watch the tape yet. But going from the first win of the season to then this game against the Cavs, as far as my experience of the Knicks right now, is pretty sweet. I think that this was as good as I've seen the offense look. They're looking to just get out and transition constantly. They're moving the ball around willingly. The assist totals didn't really show it as much in this game as some of the other games so far this season. And yet I don't think it was an indictment of what they were doing at all. I think that they knew how to attack this Cavs team, and that's exactly what they did, which involved a decent amount of ISOing and taking advantage of what Julius Randle could create, what Jalen Brunson could create, what RJ Barrett could create. But ultimately, just a great team win in this one. Also, everyone got to rest a little bit, which is cool. The Knicks outscored the Cavs 28-16 in the third quarter. So most of the big players got to sit out the final 3 to 4 minutes, which is always good. I think that you want to take advantage of those as much as you can. And we've seen Tibbs not necessarily be willing to do that in the past. So that's a plus too. You've seen him with his team up 10 to 15 points with 3-4 minutes left and just saying, nope, can't possibly, sit these guys down the stretch, even if the other team pulls their guys. So that was encouraging, considering the Knicks have to turn right around and play again tonight at Madison Square Garden against the same team. A very interesting, we highlighted this during the offseason after schedule release and everything, but a very interesting little 2-game stretch here where they have to play the Cavs 2 times in 2 nights on 2 different floors. So that's it. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to work out tonight. So the Knicks actually only won the rebounding battle 48-46, which I found surprising when I looked at the final numbers, because I thought I'm going to talk about Mitch and Hartenstein in a couple minutes, but I thought they looked really great on the glass, but they shot 12% better than the Cavs from 3 in this game, which is definitely going to make that happen. Gonna make a win happen. I mean, I really love what the Knicks have been able to do so far through this year, the Pelicans game notwithstanding. As far as shooting the 3 ball, I think that they're looking like they're finally turning a corner as a team in that regard and finding some team-wide consistency night to night, which has always been an issue for them. They seem to always run hot and cold all together, like they're like a big hive mind. I don't, if you played the Spider-Man video game, they had a little venom going on, where they'd either be really dangerous or or if someone was ringing a bell, they'd be extra affected by that at any given time. So that was good. Defensively, I thought the Knicks just continued to get after it in this game, in the passing lanes as well. They had 9 steals, 15 forced turnovers. So they're currently sitting 12th in the NBA in steals right now with 8.5 per game. So far, that's looking pretty good on my one bold prediction about the Knicks, forcing more turnovers and forcing more steals. So I hope they keep that up. And then a big caveat here that I didn't bring up yet, but the Knicks were full strength in this game. The Cavs were very much not. They were missing Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. So 3 players, 2 starters, one player that figures to be like probably their top minute getting 6 man this year, depending on how Strus and Georges and Yang, get minutes going forward once they're fully healthy. But I think that ultimately, the lessons we can take away from this, the Knicks just kind of did a lot of the same things that helped them really crush the Cavs in the playoff series last year, which was just out hustling, out muscling, and in this case, out transitioning them. I think that they really got after it in transition, which helped them a ton. So as far as individual players, I actually wanted to get into Julius Randle first. And I've been seeing a lot of doom and gloom about Randall, and I just don't know that it's founded. I'm not getting 21 to 22 vibes off of him so far. I'm getting basically last year's vibes, but that he's just starting a little slow, as far as having his shots go down. But I think that his shot selection, the way that he's playing basketball is much more congruent with last year than it is with 2 years ago. And I don't, I would be the first one. We talked about the Randall curse all offseason to be like, oh no, is he actually having a bad year this year? But I just don't see it so far. I think his shot selection is good. I think there are times where he's obviously trying to get his offense going, which means it's going to be frustrating if he's missing. But I don't think he's being overtly selfish. I don't think he's doing things that are to the detriment of the team necessarily. I think that he's a superstar player that was All NBA and All Star last year that is having a slow start and is trying to reclaim his All Star and All NBA form, because I'm sure that he realizes, just like we realize, that if he does that, this team's going to be in great shape. They already have like RJ Barrett looking like he's making a leap, Immanuel Quickley looking like he's making a leap, Jalen Brunson, continuing to be Jalen Brunson. I mean, if Randall, gets things back going and is back to all NBA level again, this team is going to be even more dangerous than they look as of right now. So I don't know. I think that once the shots start falling again, things are going to flip around with Randall in the public eye. I do think the shots will start falling again soon. He's been shooting the 3 pretty well. He's been getting to the free throw line plenty. He got there 10 times in this game, shot 7 of 10. And he's making his free throws now too, which is always important. But on top of that, I think he's starting to get some inside shots to go in, and some of the misses, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute with regard to Mitch. Like, I think some of the misses were almost intentional, because there were certain times where it looked like Randall understood that he had 2 defenders on him, and that an easy way to get 2 points for the team was to miss it in such a way and get a Kobe assist, which is when you sort of miss it in a particular way to set up your rebounders when you're drawing lots of defensive attention. But it looked like he was almost intentionally trying to miss a couple of the shots to set Mitch up with rebounding opportunities, because Mitch was right there and Mitch's defender had come over to help on Randall. I mean, I just think Randall's still getting the attention of a all NBA player and of an all-star, and yet is just kind of leveraging it in a smart way, I think, to kind of set up his teammates. And whether that's like in the game against the Hawks where he was really distributing like crazy, or whether that's in this game where, I think that he was kind of doing a little Kobe assist thing. I think he's making some smart decisions in that regard. He also bullied the heck out of Evan Mobley again. Had 2 or 3 straight possessions where he just went right at him and just kind of put a shoulder into him and went up. He got 2 buckets that way. Had another one where I think reasonably he should have gotten a foul call. It's maybe you say that he created too much of the contact, but I thought that Mobley got a little too much in his way. I don't know. Whatever the case may be there, I mean, he still looks considerably stronger than Evan Mobley. So I guess Mobley still got to keep hitting the weight room during the season because it's not quite there for him yet. Speaking of Evan Mobley, though, he made some comments. Tristan Thompson made some comments. I don't want to let them go unpunished because regardless of if the Cavs were shorthanded or not, I think there's a little too much talk on their side for a team that got smashed as much as they did in the playoffs last year, and then clearly got smashed again once we got into this game. So I want to talk about that in just a moment. But first, I want to remind you all today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. And you can score easy this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. And the app really is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And by and more, I mean same game parlays, which are my absolute favorite. You get to place a multi-leg bet within a single game, which is pretty awesome. It's great for football. It's great for basketball. I mean, I've been known in a single basketball game to put together like a I don't know, 12 line parlay of just various little things, but that's kind of the joy of it, right? Like you can go in and say, "Hey, I think Julius Randle's going to have over, 20 and a half points in this game. I think that Jalen Brunson is going to have over 4.5 assists. I think Quickly's going to have over 2.5 made threes. I think RJ Barrett is going to have over 5.5 made field goals, and then just keep going on and on. And Mitch rebounds, Mitch blocks, Hartenstein steals, whatever. Anything you can find, you can build into a giant bet that if it cashes, pays you a lot better than just making all those bets individually. So it's a fun way to juice up a game if you're looking for a little extra thing to cheer for. So visit fanduel.com/locked on and kick off the NFL season and of course the NBA season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, and I'm back in continuing talking about Knicks Cavs, and in this particular instance, I'm going to talk Cavs just for a moment. I want to go over a couple quotes that the two Cavs players made. Evan Mobley said in interviews prior to this game, "It's a big game for us. We definitely really want to get this win and really put it on them." About the Knicks, and of course, in reference to the fact that this is the team that knocked the Cavs out of the playoffs last year, ended their season early. Well, Evan Mobley ended shooting 3 of 9 for 6 points and was a minus 19 in 29 minutes. My take as someone who does not watch the Cavs all the time, but mostly has just seen them against the Knicks recently, the guy's got to get bigger. I think that he's got to continue working on his body and working on his rebounding ability and stuff because he got bullied in this game. He wound up with double-digit rebounds, but I mean, it just felt like anytime there was a contested one that he needed, he was not going to get it because either Randall or Mitch or Hartenstein or whomever was going to come in there and get it from him. So not the best showing for Mobley after a little bit of trash talk there. And then Tristan Thompson, even more trash talk. I mean, okay, Mobley, to be fair, it wasn't really trash talk. He was just saying, like, we've had this circled on the calendar. And it's like, did you? Because it didn't seem like you had that great of a game. Tristan Thompson said, "Me and Josh Hart similarities with offensive rebounding. You should have used Pat Beverly as a comparison. Me and Josh Hart rebounding wise, no. That's like a fillet and a sirloin steak." Well, the fillet ended with 2 boards in 19 minutes. The sirloin steak ended up with 7 boards in 28 minutes. So Josh Hart, with the comment afterwards, asked about the Cavs and those comments and whatever. He just said, "We don't really care. We're just sirloin steaks." So nice little fire back from Josh Hart there. Tristan Thompson, I don't know, dude. Maybe just take a little assessment of where you're at in your career right now and how things are going, and see how that goes compared to a guy who's currently in his prime. I don't know. But let's talk about some of the players on the Knicks that did a lot better and played like fillets in this game. Immanuel Quickley, 18 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 6 of 11 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line in 24 minutes. I mean, there's a lot of stat lines like this on the Knicks in this game where it's just like, oh, he scored, whatever, double digits, but only played like 25 minutes because these guys it was a well spaced out game where there got to be a little bit of garbage time, and these guys didn't have to play crazy minutes to get their numbers and really show out. I mean, I thought that Quickley he was hitting everything out of the bag in this one. He had spot up threes, sidestep threes, had a floater, had a pull up midi, had another pull up midi where he took a ton of contact and still made the shot. I mean, he looks great right now. I think that he's, again, without the benefit or detriment of seeing the New Orleans game the other night, I think that he's really starting to, kind of find himself this year as far as starting off hot and being ready to rock. Same thing with RJ Barrett. Like, these are two guys that traditionally kind of started slow, and yet they're coming out of the gates firing this year. I mean, Quickly had a tough game against the Hawks the other night as well with shooting, but you kind of take the good with the bad with him. Like, he's offering you so much on defense too. He's so disruptive. He just never lets his man get by him. I think he's just so integral to what the Knicks are going to do on defense this year in that second unit, because he just funnels guys around the court, which then eventually sets up, the steal opportunities for DiVincenzo, for Josh Hart, for whoever else happens for Hartenstein. That whole bench unit has very active hands and are very good in the passing lanes. And I think that Quickley just is kind of the straw that stirs the drink as far as, how those opportunities get set up on defense. But when he's hitting on offense too, it's just he will, if he can continue playing how he has through these first 4 games. Okay, I won't say will, because you never know. And last year they made a bad decision, but he should get his 6th Man of the Year award this year, hopefully, as long as he's able to, keep up this level of offensive production along with what he does on defense. But speaking of offensive production and defense, Jalen Brunson, I think, had a very good game as well. 19 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 7 of 16, shooting 4 or 5 from the free throw line in 34 minutes. I thought Brunson sort of played the Randle role in this game, in which I say Randle had the most first quarter points in the NBA last year, or sorry, second most after Luka Doncic, but almost the most in the NBA last year. And Jalen Brunson, I thought, had to kind of play that role in this one, where he was the guy that came out, got the tone set up offensively. Like, this game was pretty close through the first half. There was a time in the late first, early second quarter where the Cavs kind of really made a run. Mitchell was cooking and was playing really well, and the Cavs took the lead from the Knicks even briefly for a minute. And then Brunson was just kind of the guiding hand, especially in that first quarter, keeping things competitive, keeping the Knicks, ahead by a bit. And when he went out, I think they, at first, when the bench unit came in, they experienced a little bit of a drop off because he was just that hot in the first quarter. Had 9 points there, had 4 or 6 shooting in the first quarter. But I wanted to highlight with Brunson and give him props. We always talk about, oh, he's amazing on offense, but just because of his size, he's going to be limited on defense. And in many ways he is. And I don't think that's wrong to point out that he is limited on defense a bit by his physical limitations. But I think he's becoming such a force in transition defense, and this is to say nothing of, I think he's been playing the passing lanes brilliantly so far this season. And the whole team really has been, but it's shown a lot with Brunson in that starting unit. But in transition, I think he's really becoming an asset, because he's usually the first man back in transition. He always makes sure to get back there. But between his active hands, he got a really nice strip on Okoro in transition in this one that saved 2 points for the Knicks. And the fact that he's so adept at drawing charges, it makes it really, really compelling watching him in transition defense and seeing what he can do. So I just want to give him props for that. I think that, we're going to talk about his offense a ton this year, but that transition defense is starting to become a difference maker for the Knicks. I want to talk about another guy who is a difference maker for the Knicks as well. Isaiah Hartenstein had, I think, probably his best game of the season. One of his best games as a Knick in this one. Mitchell Robinson, another fantastic game as well. 1,000% shooting, or 100% shooting, batted 1,000. RJ Barrett had another really good game as well. And Dante DiVincenzo was the key to the run that won the Knicks the game. But we're going to take our final little break and then come back in and get into all that. All right, and I'm back in to keep talking about this big Knicks win. Of course, 109-91, tidy little 18-point win on Halloween. I didn't even mention it was Halloween. No tricks, just treats for the Knicks on Halloween night. And Isaiah Hartenstein was an ultimate treat here in this game. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Shot 5 of 10. And man, he was just everywhere in this game. I thought you want to talk about guys that really cooked Evan Mobley. Isaiah Hartenstein really cooked Evan Mobley as well. I mean, Julius Randle had his moments, but Hartenstein, Mobley, for how much he's supposed to be, a lengthy defender and really disruptive. And look, he is. Let's not sugarcoat it. He's a really, really good defender. He was a defensive player of the year candidate last year. But I thought that Hartenstein just really cooked him. He was hitting all these little baby hooks. He was, getting boards in traffic against him. I mean, he made Mobley look silly in this game. And just that little post turnaround baby hook was absolutely on fire. I want to say, I forgot to count them, but I want to say that 3 to 4 of Hartenstein's makes were those little baby hooks. And he's just such a disruptor on the glass too. And in the passing lanes, I thought that he was just kind of getting himself into every situation in this game. And it's really, I mean, I'm going to talk about Mitch in a sec, but it's such a luxury having these two guys. I think the Hartenstein will probably, I mean, this is the last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken. The Knicks are either going to have to pony up big for their backup center, or unfortunately, they're going to have to probably let him go and be a starter somewhere after this year, because Hartenstein is too good to just remain a backup for his whole career. I really think that he could start somewhere. He also tried 2 triples in this game, 2 3-pointers, didn't hit either. I do hope those start going down for him. It seems like it's something that he really, really wants to add to his arsenal and has the green light to this year, because he's certainly not getting admonished by Tibbs or pulled immediately after he takes a 3 or something. So clearly this is something the Knicks have told him, go for it, give it a shot and see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with him taking them either. There's one, I think I DVR'd this and was watching last night, so it recorded the TNT version. Didn't get to hear Mike and Clyde. I heard they're very entertaining. But Stan Van Gundy made a comment at one point when Hartenstein took a 3 that RJ had set him up for at the top of the key, and was like, I don't know if I like that shot. I would have kept the ball moving. But I'm fine with him trying to find that in himself, especially if it's helping him kind of stay confident and keep playing the way that he's playing. Do whatever you got to do. I don't care. Take a couple threes a game. It's fine, as long as he's not taking transition step into it, pull up threes or something. I think that would be a little foolish. But if he takes a couple spot up attempts per game, that's fine by me. I maybe wouldn't say the same about Mitchell Robinson, but he had a fantastic game as well. Don't want any pull up threes out of Mitchell Robinson or catch and shoots, but he did what he does fantastic. 8.7 rebounds, 4 field goals in just 22 minutes. And I mean, he also just muscled the hell out of the Cavs. That's the theme of this game, is the Cavs talked about wanting to get tougher and whatever, and I don't buy it. I mean, I think that the Knicks that bullied them in the playoffs last year just bullied them again in this game this year. And 3 out of 4 of his makes came off of misses. And I alluded to this with Randle, but I noticed it with Brunson too. That Brunson had one attempt where I was like, that almost looked like an intentional miss, because Brunson typically, if he's in the mid range, he's not looking to shoot like a banker. He's not looking to shoot a bank shot. He's got that really nice floaty mid range shot that he likes to put up. And yet at one point when he drew Mitch's man out, when he drove in, he sort of took this off glass little mid range attempt that perfectly went to Mitch and gave him a putback opportunity. I almost wonder if that's becoming the new way of passing to Mitch in some ways, is just saying, hey, we've got a situation created here that is going to work really good for us. Let's just go ahead and miss the shot and let Mitch grab this rebound and put it back up. I don't know, but if it is intentional, it's working, and Mitch is more than well equipped to do that. If it's not intentional, then fine, whatever. Mitch is still just really good at getting offensive rebounds. So these guys, if they're gonna shank a shot now and again. Doesn't matter because Mitch is right there to clean it up. And he was ultra consistent in that role in this game. RJ Barrett, too, another fantastic game, in my opinion. 16 points, 5 of 13 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. So the 3-point shooting seems really real. And 3 of 4 from the free throw line, just 25 minutes for RJ. He also got a nice rest in this game. And I thought this was just a nice, easy, efficient night for RJ. Like the 3-point leap seems really real right now. He's shooting 42.9% on 5.3 attempts per game through the first 4 games. And I can't really think of a time where he's ever looked this comfortable from 3, not even in 20 to 21 when he shot 40%. I mean, he's just doing it in a more of a variety of ways now at this point. I'm feeling really confident about his shooting this year so far, if this can hold up, especially because, again, as we've noted in the past week, like he's normally a slow starter, and this is anything but a slow start for him so far. He's putting up 21 points right now on a nice little 45, 43, 81 slash line. So 45 field goal, 43 from 3, 81 from the free throw line so far. All those would be career highs. Maybe things come down to earth a little bit, but if he ends up at like 43, 40, 77 and is getting as many free throw attempts as he's getting to kind of offset that lower field goal percentage number, totally cool by me. I think that would be a fantastic year for him. Last guy I want to highlight from this game, Dante DiVincenzo, team high 6 assists, only had 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting, but I really think his impact is starting to remind me of Immanuel Quickley in many ways. He doesn't really need to be scoring a ton to make a big impact. He pushed the pace like crazy. Most of his assists came as he was sort of the catalyst of the Knicks' big run in the third quarter, where they just kind of buried the Cavs, tired them out. It was DiVincenzo getting the ball, running out in transition, finding Immanuel Quickley for a 3, finding guys cutting to the hoop. Like he had, I think it was 4 out of his 6 just in that little stretch alone in the third quarters. The Knicks took their lead and ballooned it from 10 to like 20 in that little stretch there. So I thought he was the absolute key to that. And defensively, he's just such a pest. He only played 15 minutes in this game, but I kind of hope that that's going to be 15 to 20 to maybe 25 minutes, just stays his minute range for the whole year, because I kind of love that he comes out there with the level of energy that he has and can just keep it going the entire time that he's out on the floor. Like the Knicks need that out of him. They need that pesky presence in that second unit. I talked about the steals numbers, that they're in the top half of the league and pretty close to, there's a lot of ties right now because we're obviously early in the season as far as steal numbers, but I mean, the Knicks are pretty close, or if they have a couple really good steal games, they'll be top 7, top 8 in steals per game. And I think DiVincenzo has a lot to do with that. He's one of the guys that's really, I mean, even ones that weren't credited to him in this game, he had a hand on, or had a hand in, forcing that turnover and getting it to, Immanuel Quickley or Hartenstein or whoever ended up getting credited with it. So I really like what DiVincenzo's doing so far. I like that he is just another one of these guys that, much like Hart, much like Quickley, if the shooting isn't necessarily there, he's still able to give you a positive impact on the floor throughout the game. So yeah, big game for DiVincenzo, big game for the Knicks, and they're going to be right back at it tonight. So if first game of Knicks Cavs wasn't enough for you, you get an immediate second one at MSG tonight. So we'll be here for you for covering that one as well, and hopefully talking about a second straight win over the Cavs tomorrow. But until then, thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out, everybody.